On October 1, 1960, the Catholic bishops issued a joint pastoral letter titled "The Catholic Church in Independent Nigeria." They described the moment as one in which joy floods the hearts of the people of Nigeria, saying that the church joins in the independence celebrations with the splendor and solemnity of her liturgy, just as we're doing today. However, from day one, October 1, 1960, the bishops already recognized that, quote, "For some years to come, we shall have to face problems that arise from the great size of the country and from the diversity of the people." They noted that, I quote, "There is grave danger that some groups more concerned for personal power and more concerned for personal power and interest than for the good of the country, they will seek to exploit ethnic differences for their own selfish ends." This is 1960. And they warned that, quote, "No Catholic can, with a good conscience, indulge in a policy that sets one section of the state against another." In other words, no Catholic should be found guilty of what they called tribalism. On the institution of social justice and equity in the country, the bishops stated as follows in the Independence Day statement, quote, "Much of our progress can be achieved by only through making sacrifices and maintaining integrity. Those who lead in political and economic activities must take care not to let the gap between people become greater still. We should not let the gap between people become greater. Discontent may easily grow if luxury is flaunted before the eyes of the people who believe that they have not enough to live on decently. Moreover," they said, senior civil servants, take note, "the excessive distinction between senior and junior workers in the civil service that we have inherited from the colonial days cannot be allowed to continue. Salaries and allowances that were meant to attract expatriates, personnel from abroad, cannot be maintained in a society that intends to have a fair share out of its natural resources." This is 1960. Furthermore, the bishops warned that, quote, "In the course of industrialization of the country, we shall avoid creating conditions under which vast masses of poorly paid or unemployed laborers live in our cities in desperately bad housing conditions. We at least have the opportunity to avoid the mistakes of the Industrial Revolution in Europe and elsewhere." And on the critical place of leadership integrity for national development, the bishops insisted that, I quote, "The key to Nigeria's future lies especially in the hands of her leaders. To face the enormous challenges ahead, we need leaders who will seek the good of the nation as a whole and who will put the nation before the good of a particular grouping or class or their own personal good. We need leaders who are dedicated men and women. In national and international affairs, our leaders will command respect in the degree to which they manifest integrity in their deeds." Finally, reflecting on the real essence of independence for the generality of the people, they said, and I quote, "We want a proper standard of living for our people because freedom to go hungry or freedom to be unhealthy is not freedom at all. We want economic freedom because without it, political freedom is illusory and empty. We want more and better education so that our people may have freedom of intellect and the possibility of realizing their cultural aspirations. We want freedom in our personal lives because freedom has to find ultimate expression on the level of the individual person. We want the freedom for our people that means living lives of virtue, because sin is the greatest of servitudes. We want, above all, freedom to serve God, because his truth alone makes us supremely free. These are words from the Catholic bishops in 1960. By the way, by then, there were only 19 of them. And today, we have over 70 of them.